So we saw the area that he last saw his last covey of wild quail, and this was something that obviously kept coming up. If you talk to a man that's 97 years old, you're going to start comparing, the days that came before us to today, and the development. Like one thing that is truly eye-opening, if anybody listening to this comes to Edmond, Oklahoma to see the Delmar Smith kennels,
And you should.
and you should,
Yep. They're
it
welcoming.
they are extremely welcoming. It is truly, I don't even know the right word, but let's just surprising. It's not what you would picture in your head of a wild bird dog kennel, given its location. It is literally in the middle of a neighborhood.
I mean, there's a
Now.
That's what I'm
now.
getting to.
4-lane major road running. Like, it's hard to get in and out of the parking lot because
Yeah. And that damn cotton tree.
Cottonwood.
Cottonwood.
yeah.
That he kept mowing over, but he decided to let it go, and that's in blind spot.
Yeah.
Right. The man is so old that a cottonwood tree, huge,
His 50-year-old
cottonwood
tree.
Yeah.
It's ready to fall over and burn
It's
now.
awesome.
This is another thing that's bad about this place right here is this hill, and they put this new road in.
If you'd mowed that cottonwood tree down.
I cut that cottonwood down a couple of years.
But I mean, just everywhere we went, it was. I used to ride my horse here. I used to run dogs here. I used to have a quail recall pen over there, and it was literally just concrete everywhere.
It was subdivisions, houses,
Tobacco interstate,
now,
strip mall.
Yeah, it was literally, you got to have a hell of imagination to like imagine the rolling, beautiful. I mean, he would point to a subdivision and be like, "Oh yeah, right over there. There's a ridge, and there's a little bit of a drop and a holler that they'd be in there every time."
Here's this big subdivision. This is where I held my first seminar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in the middle.
We went there thinking that, like, all right, we're going to go see a cool field or something. This is where the first Smith seminar took place. And it really was just a subdivision entranceway.
But the kind of the cherry on top that's kind of like the animal that pokes you after you killed it, but you get like a little bit of a puncture wound, is that same subdivision is the one he said Tom and maybe Mark, his other son, would ride through on bikes, and they had this little trail carved out, and it was just kind of a meandering path. And then after the subdivision was built, the dozer was like, "Well, we'll just use this path." So now
that's the road.
There's just a random windy road that the Delmar Smith kids.
The subdivision planner literally was like, "Oh yeah, the random bike trail is good enough for us to plan our houses around here." The development planner.
He got a kick out of that, and I would too.
And it was interesting because it's something that, Harold, you and I specifically over the years, we've discussed development and loss of habitat and conservation to the point where honestly we just make ourselves lose sleep. Like we'll get pissed off and work ourselves up. And you even told Delmar a couple times, like that type of stuff will make you anxious to a certain extent.
Yeah, I wanted to learn how. I'm like, how did you cope with this? How did you deal with, like, you're pointing to stuff right now that I'm sitting here fearing. Right now, like I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna happen.
You and I asked him that like 10 different ways.
Yeah.
And every time what are you gonna do? Like it is
you
what
ain't
it
stopping
is.
it.
Yeah, he said you can't stop it. And then he went on to the next conversation.
Yeah.
It was just and it's just like, Lord have mercy. Because like
water off the duck's back.
And it's not that, and I said, well, I definitely want to enjoy it while I'm here and enjoy it while it lasts. Because, life's finite or whatever. But the whole idea of at least hunting culture now is to leave it better than you found it, right? And you maybe even better so that the generations later can have this. So, you know what I mean? But I don't know that that's going to be the case, but that's up to the people of this country. But it's trending that way to me.
I just want to make sure, I'll go back and make sure that, like, I don't think he was flippant about like, oh, well, there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, yeah, no.
It was just I'm just one man, and I'm not going to stop these,
stopping
literally
progress.
millions of people that have moved in around me.
He was just more impressed by it than anything. He's like, it's incredible.
Well, I mean, the man took us to the place that he saw his last wild quail. It meant something to him.
Mm-hmm.
It clearly does. But he also understands you're not going to stop the wheels of time, right? And I think there's a lot of wisdom in that, to where, I think a lot of times a lot of us confuse passion for productivity or something like that. Like the more passionate or the more loud we are or just crying about it, and it's kind of well, I mean, what are you gonna do about it? Like, I mean,
It was kind of a call to action to like choose your battles wisely.
right.
And
Put the energy
to
where it can matter.
and
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
you
yeah,
you
for sure.
can't live by things that you can't change. Not that you can't influence certain things, but you don't have enough time to be angry. You don't have enough time to be sad. The more you can accomplish, not even accomplish, the more you can learn, the more you can live.
Hmm.
It's insane. I was saying, I said to Ned here and then Tim, I said, after spending time with him, it was almost like I felt like an awful person. Like he's someone you want to strive to be.
Yeah. 100%.
Just the positive mindset.
Mhm.
It it makes it really makes you, every time you have a negative thought or you want to gripe about something in his presence, you think twice about it. You're like, oh, okay, let's solve the problem. Like,
Yeah.
It's
It
just
struck me this morning, and I mentioned it to you guys. Like, he is like the living embodiment of the serenity prayer. Like, the grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, the strength to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. As like, that is
yeah.
Delmar Smith. Like,
agreed.